Hi, I'm Sarah, the lead developer of RSLog, and today I'll be talking about the new OCR tool. Historic borehole logs have been previously difficult to manage. You can scan them into PDFs, but actually extracting that data and turning it into formatted data has been difficult and requires manual data entry. The new RSLog OCR tool is the solution to this problem. With this new tool, you can scan your borehole logs, then the tool will extract the data and format it so it writes to RSLog's database. Using this formatted data, you can use any of RSLog's features, including the cross-section designer, the GIS map, the log report generator, and the data exports. In this video, I'll be going through the OCR tool from start to finish so you can get a sense of how to use it and how it works. So now you'll see RSLog on your screen with the new OCR tool enabled. So you can access it on the left-hand sidebar through OCR and then Scan Pages and Template Manager. So to start the process, you're going to begin on Scan Pages, which is what you see here. The table here is empty, but it would show all of your log files in process of being scanned. So then on the top right corner, you have the OCR credits remaining and in use. This essentially means that you have as many credits as pages you have to scan. So if you start an RSLog trial, you have 10 credits and 10 pages you have available to scan. So once you import a borehole log, the credits will move from credits remaining to credits in use. And then once you successfully extract the data from these logs, the credits in use will be used up, and then you can see your data and will store your borehole logs as well. So if you want to get started with this process, click Import Borehole Logs. So here you start by choosing the destination project, which is just where you want the borehole logs to be created after the extraction process. So you can either create a new project manually with this button, select a previous project, or create a new project from log data, so it pulls things like the project title and uses that to create the project which the boreholes are created into. So then you can upload your borehole logs. So then once you're uploaded, you also have the option to edit the page range if you wish. When you're done, click Import. At this point, you can see the status is OCR processing. So this just means that the file is sent for processing and is in progress. So when it's updated and finished, you'll have a status update, and then you'll also get a notification in the top right sidebar. So now you can see the status has been updated to missing template, and you can see there are pages 1 to 6 missing. So this just indicates that you have 6 of your pages that don't have a template already assigned to it. So in order to create the boreholes, you need a template assigned to every single page. So if you move to the action steps, you'll see the one option available is create or assign templates. So we click that, and then we start the process of creating the templates and assigning them to the pages. What you see here is the template creator page. And essentially, this is where you're going to be creating and then assigning templates. So RSLog's OCR tool has an AI component where it guesses the specific data on the borehole log. And with this whole tool, you need to look at those guesses, verify them, and then add or remove anything that's not quite matching what you want it to. So the first step of this is to confirm the depth section lines. And this essentially means you're selecting horizontal lines in order to create specific sections on your log. So you can see on the log PDF here, you have the header, the column section, and then the footer. And then you use these lines to make those sections. So on the left, you can see you have the 3 lines, which you can hover over the label here, and then it shows you the location of lines. And then it also has a corresponding number to the PDF. So these lines are correct, but if you do want to change them, you can click the change button or just click right on the PDF and then select the line you want to change. So once you're done, click confirm lines. This is the page where you'll actually be editing the data and verifying the guesses. So on the left, you have the sidebar again, and on the right, you have the PDF. So the first step is to go under select option. So you can either create a new template or apply the existing template. In the majority of cases, you're going to be creating a new template. Apply existing is for cases where you have a page that exactly matches the template, but you have something like a smudge on the page that messes with the extracted data a little bit. So in those cases, you can do apply existing and then just fix that error and continue to extract. So in this case, we're going to be creating a new template, and I'm just entering the template name. Next, we're going to go below to the all label section. So the first thing is to enter the new project data. This is essentially the information that's going to be used to create the project if you're doing that. And in this case, I am. So we have the correct coordinate reference system and unit system, so we can move on. And then below, we have the accordions with all the data. So the project info and borehole info section is data where you have a label and a value, and that's indicated in the left sidebar and also on the PDF. So in the left sidebar, you can see those specific values, but then if you go to the PDF, you can hover over all the words to see what they actually are. So the dark blue words indicate a label, and the light ones indicate a value. So at this point, we want to look at the guest data and then verify if it's correct and change anything we need to. So to do this, you can do a few things to see where the data is. On the left sidebar, you can hover over the actual value name here, and then it shows you where it is on the PDF. So we can see the project info is at the bottom. So let's zoom in there. So now we can see all the data here, and it's just at a quick glance, you could see if all the information is correct or not. You can also go onto the PDF and hover over the words to see if they're correct. So for all the project info, all this info is correct, and then we can move on to the borehole information. So for the borehole information here, we see at the bottom left that the contractor name is assigned as company, but this is incorrect, so we want to change this. So there's a few ways to remove the data or unselect words. So one option is just to go right on the PDF and click a word and then click unassign. As well on the PDF, you can hit Shift A, and then on the top right, you can see that mode, select words to unassign, and then click a word you want to unassign. And then the final way is to drag a box to highlight multiple words and then click unassign. As well, on the sidebar, you have these clear selection X buttons, so you can go to label or value and just clear the selection. So there's quite a few ways to quickly unassign the data you don't want. Now, if we move to the information in the left sidebar and then scroll to the top, we can see where this data is located. So borehole ID is correct, end date is correct, but you can see here there's a to value on the PDF. This is just indicating that there are two fields that have this word selected. So in this case, it's end date and start date. This is just a quick indicator that this piece of data is selected multiple times, which is fine, and in this case is correct. So moving on to logged by, which is correct, and then we have elevation and then the coordinates. So we can see here with one of the coordinates that the negative value is not selected. So we also want to select that value. So if you click that word, you can choose your category, which here is borehole info. You can choose the data name, which is longitude, and then you can choose the data type, which here is the value. So that word is selected. So now we have all this data confirmed, but there's just an issue with the removed by field, and we also want to select notes as the location description. So to start with reviewed by, the label is correct, but the value is not, so I'll clear that section. And then we want to select these words as the value for reviewed by. So there's a few ways we can do that as well. We can click the word, we can select the category, the data name, and then the data type. And then as well, if you press Shift, the previously selected data type will appear in the top right corner, and then we can just click any word we want to select. As well, if you want to drag and highlight multiple words, you can do that and select multiple at once. So review by is correct, and now we want to add location description. But it's not here in the sidebar and not visible. So to access that additional piece of data, we go under Add Data. So Add Data just includes all the pieces of data you could add, but were not guessed by our AI backend that this is located in the PDF. So to manually select that, you just go into this add data section and then select location description or any value you want. So now we have location description, and you can see that it did correctly select the value, but we want to select the label. So we'll just go to the PDF and select that. As well, if you hover over location description and click it, then when you go to select the word, it will already be filled out for just quick data entry. So now all the borehole information is correct. And then we also have contractor name, which is not, was guessed, but it's not actually in the PDF, so we can remove that just so we don't have to see it in the sidebar. So now all the borehole info is correct, and we're going to move to the log columns. So this is a very similar workflow to the project and borehole information. So you can see where everything's located on the left sidebar, and then you can also hover over the PDF and select the information. So let's start with depth. Depth, you can see that it's selected as the meters column, but we want it to be an imperial, so we need to change that column. We can either clear the selection with this X button here, or if we just click right on the PDF, the other column, and then select the depth column and approve this, it'll just automatically switch. So the depth column is now correct, the strata description column is correct, and then these two columns are required to create the template. So let's move on to some other ones. So for sample, we have sample moisture, sample number, sample recovery, all of which is correct. But then for drill runs, the RQD is selected, but it shouldn't be. So we can remove that. Again, with this negative button here, we can remove it from view and unselect it from the PDF. Then for the lab test as well, moisture percent was selected, but this is not correct, so we'll remove that. And then finally, we have comments, which was correctly selected. So we have a few columns here on the PDF that are not selected, but we want to be. So we'll go into add data and then select the different data fields that we want. So we want to select sample type and sample RQD, and then we want a few SPT values. So you can use the search bar here as well to quickly find what you're looking for. So we want value N1, N60, and then the reporting value. So now that we have those values on the left sidebar and on the screen, we're able to select them on the PDF. So if you just hover over the column you want, click, and then select the specific column you want, you can select the columns. So we'll do sample type, sample RQD, and then all the SPT values. Okay, so at this point, all the data is selected, and you can go over it if you want by hovering over on the PDF to see that everything is correct. But at this point, everything is selected, so we want to create the template. So at the bottom of the left sidebar, you can either do save, which just saves the specific page and keeps you on the page, or save in next. So that will save the page, create the template, and then bring you to the next page that's missing a template. So in this case, we're going to do save and next. So now we just have a loading screen where we're waiting for the template to be created. And at this point too, after the template's created, it checks the other pages in the file and different files to see if any other pages match this template. And then it will automatically match those pages. So at this point, all of the pages were matched to that template you just created. So we're back to the original page for scan pages, and you can see the file entry here with the status templates matched. So that just indicates all the pages are matched and you're ready to create the boreholes. So under action steps, you have the option to review the templates matched if you'd like, or go right to creating the boreholes. So I will just start creating the boreholes here. So now you can see the status has changed to extraction in process. So that just means that it's in the process of being extracted, and then when it's done, the status will change and you will be notified that the boreholes are created. So here you can see the status is complete, and then the top right notifications, you can see that it's been successfully processed and the boreholes have been created. So at this point, everything to do with this file is done, and you can go and you can see the boreholes that have been created. So one way you can do that is going to go to OCR history, and then you can see these boreholes and they're linked as well. And then under action steps, you can view the file if you'd like, but you can't edit it. And then you can actually see the new boreholes with this button here. So here we have the list of boreholes with this OCR tag, and we can go to edit a specific borehole. So you can see all the information that was in the log file is here in your OCR inputs. So the coordinates, the name, the depth, log by, reviewed by, everything there. And then if we want to go through the different tabs, under samples, you can see all the samples have been extracted with the sample type, moisture level, RQD values, and then we have the depth to and from as well that have been extracted. And then as well, we have all the field tests, then the comments, and finally, the stratigraphy layers. So you can see all the information has been extracted in the lithologic description, and then we have the from and to values for the layers. As well, the final thing is this button here on the top right, Open OCR Log. So that just links the OCR log that's saved in the cloud, so you can access it at any point when you're logged into RSLog. So it just makes it super easy to view all the extracted data and then also view the log that it originated from. So now this process is complete, and if we go back to the OCR tabs, under the template manager, you can actually see that the template has been created, and then at this point you can choose to view or edit the template or delete it if you'd like. So now if we go back to scan pages, since we have this template already created, if we import any logs with the same template matched, it will automatically be matched. So let's do that with import borehole logs. So if we choose the same file here and then import it, it will be matched as well. Now you can see the file I just uploaded here with the status of templates matched. So all the missing pages are now assigned to the new template we just created. This accelerates your workflow and allows you to import multiple borehole logs at once if they have the same format page to page. With the new RSLog OCR feature, you can now say goodbye to manual data entry. It will streamline your workflow and allow you to turn analog data into insights. And now with an RSLog trial, you can have 10 free OCR page credits, so you can test the feature out before purchasing. There's a link in the description below. If you have any questions, please comment below or reach out to us.